Hi, I'm Arthur Dirksen of BestZapper.com, and we are super excited to present a story, a true story that you probably would never believe, except that it really happened. And it's something that we have heard about for years from Dr. Clark, something about tapeworms, what they can do to wreck your life. Here's a true illustration. I don't think you'll ever forget it. I'd love you to meet Ronnie Nicole, friend of ours from Ann Arbor, and her amazing story. Here we go.
My story started about 2 years ago. I was in a restaurant and I was vegetarian for a long time. And I decided I wanted to have some chicken that day, so I went ahead and did it. And the next day, I noticed some changes in my body and I was like, well, maybe my body's just not agreeing with the chicken. After that, it kind of just snowballed and I constantly became more and more weak. I tried everything. I thought, well, maybe I had fight or flight where my kidneys were messed up, my adrenal system was messed up, or I thought maybe I had a thyroid problem. I didn't know what it was. Every time I would eat something, it got to the point that it would inflame my body. And I constantly was doing research, so I read somewhere that when things inflame your body, that can mean that your body's not supposed to have it, or else it could cause cancer or anything like that. So I started becoming very aware of my body. And I eliminated sugar out of my diet, I eliminated meat out of my diet, I eliminated dairy out of my diet, pretty much everything out of my diet. I went to 2 doctors. I have a homeopathic doctor and a naturopath. First I went to my homeopathic doctor and I said to him, I'm dying, what can you do here? And he gave all the tests and tested my blood and tested my liver and tested everything, and everything came back normal. Even my thyroid came back normal. So I was like, what is going on? So there was no hope there. And then I went to my naturopath, and that's when she justified that I had parasites, and she said that they're in my intestines. Then from there I started, really taking things more seriously, but still with no hope of feeling like I would ever be back to normal. I finally decided to go back to school for dental assisting, and in doing that I had to take a healthcare terminology course. And when I took this course, I was always, a really good student, and I studied about 50 hours a week for these tests. I took my first test and I got a C, and I went, something's not right. So then the next week I continued doing the same thing and I got the same results. And so the third weekend I said, you know what, I'm going to give my absolute all that I know I can give, 110%. And I probably studied like 80 hours in that week. And I went and I took the test and I still got the same grade, which was a C. And I said, something has to be wrong. At this point, I did all my notes and I did everything so my teacher could see what I was doing is correct, and she could see that I was really indeed studying for 80 hours. When I went into the class, I showed her what I had done and she goes, oh my gosh, this is great. I am going to, see how you did on the test. So when she saw that I got the same grade, she was blown away. And the first thing she had asked me, she says, well, do you take brain food? I says, yeah, I take flaxseed. And she goes, that's not enough. And I just straight out blurted it out with everybody in the class. I said, I have parasites. And she goes, okay, come over here. Let me talk to you. So I went over there and I talked to her, and that was the first time I heard about the zapper. She says, we have to zap you. And I didn't know what she was talking about, but I just knew that if it's something that could work, let's do it. I says, well, how can we do it? So she brought the zapper to me on the following day. I picked up the zapper, she showed me how to use it, and I remember I was sitting at the table and I was holding the zapper, and I felt immediately just a calmness inside. So I was like, this is gonna work. I did the zapper 4 times before I really saw that there was, a significant difference. And then the following day, I did the zapper one more time in the morning, and I took a whole chunk of garlic, a bulb, and I ate that with artichoke heart. And I had results, and a tapeworm came right out. At that moment, I felt like I won $1 million. You know, I felt like I won the lottery, really, because what had happened was I instantly felt better. And my brain was just like totally recalibrating itself. And day after day, it was just getting better and better and better and better until here we are today. I would absolutely recommend the Zapper to the entire world. I am a firm believer in it. If it wasn't for Arthur, I wouldn't be here today telling you my story, and I would still think I'm crazy, because that's how this tapeworm made me feel, absolutely insane. So I feel normal again, and I want anybody out there to feel the way I feel and feel normal again. That's my goal.